What up, what up, what up, what up, what up, world? Welcome again to another exciting edition of Riding Dirty Radio. Yours truly, Vic XL. I'm very, very excited. I got special guest in the building, Mr. Yusuke Vacant. Welcome to the Riding Dirty Show.
What's going on, y'all?
All right, man, let's get into it. I did not know what I know now, but after reading the information on you, I do know something that we want to talk about. But before we get into that, I want you to let the people know where you are from.
Originally, I'm from Brooklyn, New York. Grew up in the Poconos, Pennsylvania, though.
Okay. Oh, hold on. Now, how did you get from Brooklyn, New York to the Poconos?
So, I was born in Brooklyn Hospital in 93. In 98, my pops decided to move the family to the suburbs, to the nice mountains of the Pocono, Pennsylvania. So, that's why I say I grew up in the Poconos. I moved there at 5, so I pretty much grew up there.
Okay. All right. Now, you mentioned your father. So early on, I did not know this when I was finding out I was going to be interviewing you, but you are the son of a legend who just transitioned. But you are the son of a legend. Tell the world, who is your father?
Man, well, if it's not obvious with the shirt, man, I'm Kangol Kid's youngest son, the legendary Kangol Kid from the rap group UTFO, majorly known for the song Roxanne, Roxanne.
Okay, I gotta ask. I gotta get into it early. What's it like being the son of a hip hop icon?
Shoot, man, like that question. Every time I hear that question, it always seems like it's never gonna be the right answer. It's really an experience that honestly I didn't hit me until I grew up. I really didn't realize what was going on around me at a young age. Actually, for me at a young age, what I was experiencing seemed like regular life. Ashanti being in the living room recording her demo. Will Smith sending web TV happy birthdays and happy holiday emails, and all of this stuff just seemed normal to me until I got older and just kind of like really started realizing, like, wait a minute, like everybody don't grow up like this. Everybody don't have these accessibilities that I had growing up, and in the same breath, there's always the yin and the yang, being the son of a legend, a music legend, and having musical talents, of course. We had Joe Jackson in the house. So it was definitely an experience, for lack of better words, and a very humbling experience because of who the legend is on top of that. So it's not like I did have Will Smith. I'm not Jaden. I didn't have a Jay-Z or somebody like my pops paved the way. I got a construction working legend, like the man that made the building that all of these people is living luxury inside of. So it's definitely a humbling experience in that sense as well, because for a long time growing up with him, it was I started, as I got older, started seeing the struggle of legends and not being paid a certain amount of homage, not being credited to certain things, and just kind of going through the industry in this new music world that we are all being actually thrown into, for real. So it definitely was crazy.
All right, you mentioned paid homage. And when we think of Kangol Kid, UTFO, the whole, legacy, how do you feel like the hip hop scene has done when it comes to paying homage? Because a lot of people don't know the doors that Kangol Kid and UTF opened from groups like Full Force, Whistle,
Houdini, yeah.
creating a song that had to this day had more responses to it in the history of the game. What? First of all, do you feel like hip hop has given your father his just due?
Oh, of course not. Of course not. 1,000%. And it's not just hip hop. I feel like hip hop dropped the ball because that's where he emerged from. But music in general, my pops emerged at a time where music was one. And the Billboard records, when I to in layman terms, the Billboard records was one record chart. And my pops battled against Michael Jackson. Like that by itself is like, he was number one on the Billboard records on the charts. And then Michael Jackson, well, he's number two. I'm sorry, he was number two with a dot next to him. Back then, that dot on your bulletin meant you secured number one for the next week. Michael Jackson drops his album, and now, of course, my pops never reached the number one. And just that small little story kind of just shows the entire, journey and legacy he has gone through, from being that number one rap artist to now, just like you said, people don't really even know what, people at this moment have more understanding of Roxanne Shante, and I love Auntie to death, but yeah. Well, you got a Netflix show for Roxanne. You don't even got a Netflix show for UTFO. Like, literally, there would be no Roxanne Netflix show if there wasn't a Roxanne song done by UTFO. And that's the part where it's like a unanimous no. They definitely have not yet, gave the appropriate homage to him. And there's a lot of artists of such that's finding their way back to being known of who they are. We've seen it with Jadakiss. A lot of the kids from under 18, I would say under 21, definitely, of right now, pick and choose, don't really maybe not know who Jadakiss was, but boom, they got him on the little verses, John, and it was enough for that widespread viral people to be like, oh wait, this is a real rapper. Like, this is a real rap. Okay, then and boom, now he got his flow. So, like I say, not yet has they've given my pops the appropriate homage.
All right, now, how many siblings do you have?
I have 3 in total. 2 older brothers and a younger sister.
Okay, what was the pressure like in your household to dive into the entertainment business?
So a lot, being the youngest son, and my little sister's 5, so she would be excluded from this growing up part. So my 2 older brothers, being the youngest son, they were both already, and we all were musically inclined, musically talented. Honestly, really from birth, we literally had a part of our household: bedroom, bathroom, kitchen, living room, studio. Like that was just literally how the house was. So my older brothers being older than me, my oldest brother and the middle child, they had a group at a very young age. My older brother AJ was 4, so Sean was 7. They was on Apollo, Radio City Music Box, so many different stuff, working. And at this time, I'm like 1 year old. So once I came into the picture, it was kind of like, this is the tone. You have Sean, who raps, sings, and at this, as he got older, he started making beats. And then AJ's writing, singing, and dancing. And me was just like, I kind of did it all. So when I got into the first group my pops had put us in, which is under 18, I was only like 8 years old. And it was so much pressure. For me, it was a lot of pressure because I always felt like I got the little Brody end of the stick with a lot of like the stuff, and then as now I kind of understand it more, but back then I was just like, bro, I could dance too. So like we practicing, we doing the dance moves, and Joe Jinx, shout out to Joe Jinx, the choreographer. I'm trying to hit the moves harder than everybody else. Like I'm trying to show off. So it was like a, needless to say, competition. Like, everybody was competing with amongst the brothers to just be greater. So it was an iron sharpened iron. It was never like beef or anything of that nature. It was always an iron sharpened iron. Our pops always installed that into us. Like, yo, I would rather you two, and this is not in literal terms, but I would rather you two spar so that y'all sharpen your skills for when y'all both go to fight together. So that was kind of like the mantra in the house.
Okay. All right. Now, do your brothers, they still pursue music, or?
My oldest brother, T-Sean, Ciroc Boy T-Sean, has been a Ciroc Boy for multiple years as a DJ. That's pretty much like the foundation of his career right now is DJing. He as well is a producer. He's produced for a lot of people for a long time. First production credit was Big Daddy Kane. So that he's still in the game in that sense. And then my brother AJ has been out of the industry for a long time. A little bit of his catalog. He had a group called Project Plan B. Was the first winners of Wild Out Wednesday with BET. They were the first ones to win. He had a different other groups he had as well. And then he took a break from music for a long time, just being a father. And as of right now, February 22nd, same day I dropped my second album, he dropped his first solo project. I wouldn't call it original because it was a remix of the Mooney Long Hours and Hours song. Did a remix, but it was just enough to him to just feel like, all right, let me get back into this. So definitely look out. Dre Champagne's going to be dropping out this year too.
No doubt. All right, so let's talk about you. First, the name. Explain the name.
Yusuke Vacant. So Yusuke comes from Yu Yu Hakusho. It's an anime that I watched growing up. And sidebar story, I really didn't know the name meaning. I just wanted the name because at a time I had some like rebellion teen years. We're gonna call it. I was rebellious to my pops and a lot of direction that they were trying to show me. And so I didn't want my last name anymore. So I was like, I went to Facebook. I'm like, oh, I'm so angry. I'm going to change my name. So I wanted to change it to Giovanni No Name. And I was like, whatever I change my name to is going to be my new artist name. And so I had to make it a good one. So I was like, Giovanni No Name. Facebook was like, nah, we can't have no name. So I was like, dang, like Giovanni empty. And then wouldn't let me put that either. So I'm like, damn, like, I don't know. I don't know what to do. I don't want to have a last name. Like, how do I do this? So finally, I thought of Vacant. And I was like, all right, cool, Giovanni Vacant. And it sounded cool. I actually liked it for like 20 minutes. And then I was just like, I think I'm gonna just change the whole thing, man. Like, and Yusuke just kind of just popped out as like, that's my favorite character. I've always been in love with that show. Still to this day, honestly, watch the show over and over. It's only 112 episodes. Still watch it to this day. And then I learned that it means ease will support, Yusuke, in Japanese. So, I really, after I found that, I'm like, wow, that's really me. I will always help somebody. I'm always supportive to people around me, and but I'll never spoil them. I'm never the type to be like, all right, listen, get to the water, get you a straw, try to bring your face down to. I'm not doing all of that. Like, you know what I mean? And honestly, I don't really feel like I'm the type of person to really walk you all the way to the water. Like, I really want people to have skills when help them with something. So here's some directions. You know what I mean? Like, that's how you figure out where the wind blowing, like type things. And that's me. So I very much embodied the name after I got it, realizing what it all stands for. And for vacancy, vacant is not my last name being empty anymore. I more so with the vacant part, it's just kind of how I approach everything. I feel like I'm a very logical person. Try my hardest to not be an emotional person. So the vacancy part is like the lack of emotions for the, I guess, to make up with it for intelligence. You know what I'm saying? So I try to approach things in a smarter way. So just that pretty much the name is like an easel supporting man that, is struggling with his emotions, for lack of better words.
Okay. I want to send my condolences to your father and your family. You guys definitely, that was a major blow to, the icons of hip hop. How have you dealt with the transition of your father?
Shoot, I haven't. So I don't know. I have no idea. I took a break from music for a while. I dropped the album last year. When I dropped last year, May 6th, my plan was to not stop. I was like, I had a lot of roadblocks in my life. I have 3 children, and not saying can't say roadblocks, obstacles. I just realized I said 3 children after roadblocks. Like, damn. But in actuality, it felt like such when it came to the career. We just like,
but they do create a challenge when pursuing a career, whether it's music, even trying to get to the top of the ladder on a company. Having a family does create
trying to get a degree. It's still gonna be a challenge having a child. So that was one thing that was, blocking me, trying to get everything out that I wanted to get out and just have like an unlimited clip. So that was my plan last year. I had so much things lined up. And, last year, February, is when we found out about my pops having colon cancer. And I was just like, he's going to be fine. Like, my pops don't smoke. My pops does barely drinks. Like, what does he have cancer for? So I was just like, he going to be all right. And so I dropped the album. I proceeded. As the year started going, it was just getting worse and worse and worse. I was supposed to drop this album that I just came out with February 22nd. I was supposed to put it out October of last year. And as the decline of his health was, I was just like, I gotta chill. I can't tour. I can't do any shows, events right now. Like, I'm just not mentally there. So I took a break. And as everything happened, it was just kind of like, I don't know. At some point, I remember I was thinking to myself, I didn't even want to do music no more. Like, one of the things my pops always was like madly in love with when it came to the talents that I had was my ability to story write. I write comic books and things like that. So I'm working on getting those published and everything. But I was going to be kind of like my main focus after that. I was just like, you know what? Like, I'm just going to go straight to writing. And then the funeral happened and they were like, we had the repast and they're like, yo, get on stage. Everybody, y'all got to get on stage and do, Roxanne. And I was almost reborn on that stage. It was like, oh, heck no, I can't stop this. Like, I have to do this. One of my main goals in my life is to have a #1 Billboard charted record. Because I felt like my pops was robbed of such. And in a perfect world, I want that record to be above the Michael Jackson of our time, whoever it is. Right now, I feel like it's Drake. So I want that to be a thing. And, after getting off that stage and the reaction from everybody, and it was just like, yeah, nah, I'm going back to my original plan. Like, nah, I gotta do this. I have to do it. So I can't really say I'm so much dealing with the transition more than I'm just trying to move. It's like, people say to me a lot with stuff like this, people that have gone through situations, grieving process is never on schedule. It's never on time. It doesn't have any duration and it comes whenever. So I think my focus right now is just to focus on the goals and continuing the legacy. And once, those moments hit me, take it for what it is, steps through grief. So I can honestly say I rarely have had those moments. And I think, like, again, with the vacant part of myself, just being like trying to be logical about everything going on and try not to fall under the emotion. I deal with a lot of mental health issues, bipolar, maniac. So falling under emotions is not a good thing for me. So I try as much as I can to let it seep in slowly and more controlled than,
All right. You just mentioned mental health. And it seems, especially now in 2022, 2021, we have more people of African-American descent willing to speak about mental health issues.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think that's something that's always been there with the older generation and it wasn't just talked about? Or do you think that now comes along with the time and the pressures of social media and all the other things that go
on? I have a yin-yang answer for that. I think, yes, it was always there. I do believe, yes, it's amazing. Honestly, thoroughly amazing that it's spoke about more now. But then there's also a catch with the social media world that we've seen plenty of times before, but one time before I could say it right now, Lil Wayne, when he first emerged and he was a blood, and it just seemed like everybody wanted to be blood, whether you were really blood or born into it. It just everybody wanted to do it, kind of, or be a part of it, whether it was negative, positive, whatever way you was getting into it. Everybody was, kind of attaching themselves to it. So right now, it just seems like we have like the misconstruction of people's mindsets now. Like sometimes you're like, oh, that person's just acting crazy, or that person's bipolar, and it's almost like, oh, that person, oh, that's so gay. it's almost the same like type of umbrella now. It's like you get the negative way about it, and then you got the people that really understand. Like, no, just because everybody wants to call Kanye crazy on TV, it's not cool to be crazy. Those that are coming outside that really have mental health issues don't even like the words like crazy and things like that. So I do believe it was my pops had mental health issues. It just was never spoke about. Like I know for a fact it was after growing up and realizing myself. I've gone through the rehabs, mental health programs, and the works. More so for my children and myself. At the end of the day, I wanted to know about these things and learn how to teach others. Not just learn it for myself. I wanted to learn how to teach other people, like, identifying triggers and this, that, and the third. So I really wanted to learn. After that, I started looking at my pops, my mom, and I'm like, and you gotta like, and so I know it was always there, but it was never like it's of course it's not. At the time, it wasn't something cool to talk about. I remember one of the first times I've ever really knew something was wrong with me. And not the first episode I've had, the one I knew about. I needless to say of the situation, I brought it to my family's attention, and it was around the time everybody first found out I was smoking weed. So of course, mental health, and this is why I'm saying this story, because mental health at the time was so like shunned, especially amongst the African American community. It was like, there was always an excuse that you're not crazy, you just smoke weed. My thing was I thought I had a split personality. I thought, like I have blackouts. So, being in a blackout, you think I have to be not moving. But when you wake up or, come to, you're in a different location. So now you're just like, okay, what's going on? I just on autopilot. So I thought I had a like split personality, like it was a freaking movie. And that's what I said to them. And I was 16, 17 years old. And my pops was just like, yeah, no, that's not it. You smoke weed. Okay, you live with your mom. Should be living with me. Should be focusing on music. And I was like, wait, what? But it was the natural way to sweep it under the rug of like, there's no way. I remember even my mom told me at one point, it's not of the Bible. It's not of the Bible, so can't be you. I'm like, okay. Like, it was always something to just sweep it under the rug. And then like, once it became a thing, it's like there's no going around it. The kid has mental health issues. He's literally showing it. And it became more open. And it's just like, it was great to see like after such things, I became a spokesperson. I go to rehabs. I do speak in a lot of different mental health programmings and events. And, after doing that, it was just like seeing the whole world change toward it. I don't want to feel like I had a big part in it, but I felt like I played a part in the outward speech of being an artist, being an African American, being a male. Yeah, being a father. There's so many different things that it will be like, if you have mental health issues, should you be doing that? Like, yeah, we live normal lives too. Like, hey, we can live a normal life too. So it definitely is an amazing thing. And to answer the question again, yes, I definitely believe it's always been there.
Okay, let's talk about your music. First question: how involved was your father when it came to your music? And when I'm talking about how involved, like, did he ever lend you a verse? Did he ever give you beats? Like, how involved was he into the creation of your music?
So I had two stages of my career thus far. My first stage was, being a member of my brother's group, me and my brother's R&B group, under 18, and then it turned into TAG. That entire time, my pops was 1,042 billion% involved. There wasn't anything moving, saw, heard, thought of that really wasn't channeled through him and approved by him. Including, at a point, like I said, my brother AJ was the writer. My brother AJ, listen, to get my pops to approve a verse from AJ, you can ask him about that yourself. So that it was like that for a while. But after my, change of name and direction of my music and just wanted to be a solo artist, zero. This is 0, 0, 0, 0 whatsoever. And it was more so the fact of at that part of my life and my pop's relationship was just like, you're your own man, and I'm not going to try to change who you clearly have grown up to be just because it's not a lot of the ways I am. So one, I smoke weed. I have to smoke before I go record. I'm smoking before I go on stage. My pop's not with it. He's not gonna come to the studio. And things like that. But when it came to me playing records for him afterwards, you know, he would give the Joe Jackson criticism, for lack of better words. He practically never liked anything. Like, you had to like know what he says and how he says it to be able to interpret if he likes it or not. Because all in all, what you're really gonna give him, and you got anybody in the industry would say that about my pops. When you give him something, he's normally gonna respond in a Simon Cowell type way. Like, yeah, it's not doing for me. This is and he'll tell you everything wrong about it. But once you start learning him and you hear like, oh, he only said like 3 wrong things and he ain't saying nothing about the beat, I think I got one, you know. So that was the way I would tell if my pops liked my music. And I can honestly say the beast that I am now is from all of the nays of his responses. I've gotten to a point with these last 2 projects I've came. Thank God, you know, he's heard both of them. The first project, Vacant Hotel, that came out last year, he, you know, nitpicked the songs that he liked, but there was one particular song, which was the single Hollow Point, that I feel like he didn't want to like, because, you know, just the context of the record, and just more so like I'm rapping on these projects more than I sing, and he knows I'm a way better singer than I'm a rapper. But, you know, rapping is just something that's fun to me, something I really wanted to like just get out before I really started showing the direction of my music that I wanted to go into. But I always have songs on it. I got, you know, R&B tracks. But so Hollow Point, I could tell he didn't want to like the record. He didn't want to like the video. He didn't want to at all. But his daughter, my little sister, Sia, in love. Like, when I tell you this little girl loved that song so much, you know, every single word at 4 years old, like, she just loves that song. She sings it all the time. And he couldn't get away from it. So it would just kind of like, you know, afterwards he would hit me up like, you know, Sia thinks you got one. Like, you know, I got one. Like, just say it, man. Like, so, but I was able to have that from him this past year of his life, to get that approval, to know that I'm going in the right direction with my sound, with everything. That it's just like, it's only three bad things he gonna say about it, and that's enough for me.
Okay. All right. Now let's talk about the project. You released the project last year, Vacant Hotel. Tell me a little bit about that one.
So the Vacant Hotel project was originally was going to be my like startup project. You know, something I originally was going to call it Under Construction, because it was me rapping, and I really wanted to get this rap, you know, a side of me out. And I was like, you know, Under Construction. So as I'm making the records, one of my little bros, Dylan, he told me, yo, honestly, listening to this, and I was just rapping what I wrote over the beat. He was like, listening to this, it don't sound like you're Under Construction, kid. Like, sound like you got something going. Like, you might want to change this title. So I eventually changed it to Vacant Hotel. Actually, we just like a kind of meeting, or just a splurt of different titles. Everybody was just throwing something out. And Dylan actually is the one that said Vacant Hotel, because wanted to play on the name. Immediately when he said it, I found an entire universe for the name. So with that being said, this project is really just like a hotel of what hip hop and R&B is to me. So every room is something different. Every track is equivalent to each room. So everyone is different rooms. So you're gonna have an experience going from, you know, the beginning of checking into the hotel, to when you get to your room, you know, and you can explore different options of different rooms you can go into. And that's just kind of like the whole idea of Vacant Hotel. And I like the umbrella of that being it, because I will always have my hotel open. And that was just like more of a thing for me to say, I'm never going to stop making music. So Vacant Hotel always being open 24/7. when we do renovation and we add another addition to the hotel, that's just another album. That's just another piece of music, you know, to the hotel. And that is what I've decided to do with this series of my music. So the next project I had just recently put out was the Soho playlist. And those are the sounds outside of the hotel. And, you know, Soho, sounds outside a hotel overhead is the acronym for it. And so this is what it sounds like outside of the hotel. And that idea was more so me veering towards more of the different type of music I make. And as well as showing more of my R&B side. I have one song on there called Wide Shut, all acoustic, guitar played, and then it has a nice little hip hop beat to it. And that last song on the project is a segue lead into me actually doing an acoustic guitar entirely based project. So everything is just kind of, it's just my career is a story. Like, you know, my pops always says I am a story writer. And that's what I decided to do in my career. So Vacant Hotel is chapter 1 and the Soho playlist is like chapter 2. So it's definitely a dope little journey I'm on with this series in particular.
Okay. 3 records I want to ask you about. First, I want to ask you about Joker and how fun was it making that video?
Woo. So Joker is one of the rooms in the hotel. Joker is a side of me that is self-explanatory. I'm a villain. It's just showing my insight of what the good parts or what the acceptable parts of being a villain is, or like understanding what it means, or like the benefits. There it is. Those words I look for. The benefits. Joker, he don't got to do much. He can whip you behind if he wants to. He got mad at gags and tricks and all this stuff. But what is Joker known for? He has the henchman. You know, he sits back and calls the shots, and all of this stuff happens. And that was like the idea I went with it. So I did that for the video. It was just like the video was just like, you know, me going through the city as Joker, and you know, I don't never do nothing, but you got the yellows as it was my henchmen. You know, they attacking people. And there's one little scene where I guess somebody sold him a bad batch of weed, and he was just like, oh, and they started beating him up, and little stuff like that. So it was an extremely fun video to shoot. I kind of felt, you know, what I loved about it was the preparation. I think the preparation for Joker was more fun than shooting a video. Why? Because all day, every day, I felt like, you know, I was getting ready for a movie scene, a role. So I'm watching the Joker movie. I'm watching Joaquin's movements, and I'm going to the animations, and I'm watching those, and I'm just watching Joker. And I'm walking around, I'm talking like I'm moving my face like I'm doing everything. And it just felt good to just be like, yo, like I could be an actor. Like I could do this. This is the work you got to do to get into a role. I can do this. So it was definitely a dope experience.
All right. Tell me about Gravity.
Gravity is the first single for Soho playlist, and Gravity actually is an amazing like song to me because number one, my little brother Nino made the beat. So shout out to 316. And every time me and him does something, it honestly is always like the best work for me. So that was already a dope thing. We have a music video coming out for it very soon. He's also in the video. And so I'm basically like with that one was just kind of showing my brain, like how I think and everything through that song. Not really so much the video. I can't wait for you to see that. Shout out to Drixel and Adachi, who is the videographers and editors of that video. And so Gravity was just the first single, something I really wanted to put out because it's the first project that me and Nino's done since my early records, mixtape type times. And so definitely excited. And I again can't wait for everybody to see that video.
And the last word I want to ask you about is Donatello.
Second single for Soho playlist. Donatello, I originally wrote that song to a Nino beat. He did a collab beat with a kid named Gymnasty, who does a lot of production for like Rich the Kid and everybody like that. So they did a collabo beat and then lost it. So as they were making the beat, I'm writing. You know what I mean? I was writing to it like a day later. So I'm like, yo, send me that beat. computer crashed, something like that happened. Boom. I'm like, dang. So I just had a hook for a while. And so my cousin, my little cousin Alex, he started being a producer. Just I honestly, like, within the past like 3 years, out of nowhere, this kid's just making beats and just fire. So he sent me one when I was in Philly at the house, and yeah, so I was just, oh, that's perfect for this. So Donatello is another video we're gonna be shooting very soon. It's definitely gonna be another crazy fun one, Ninja Turtle style. It's gonna be lit, man. I don't want to get too much away, but it's definitely gonna be, of course, amongst the Ninja Turtle style music video. It's definitely gonna be just as fun as Joker, and really these records for Soho playlist is just kind of like I said before, it's lining y'all up for what I'm really about to be doing with my music career. You know, the sounds I'm just playing around still, so it's gonna be crazy.
Okay. You mentioned being a father of 3. Do you foresee your children getting into the music business? And if so, do you encourage it?
So my pop said if we weren't so headstrong with our talents, he would have never wanted this for us. And I know for 1,000% fact, I do not want that for my children. I don't want this career for them. I would love for my children to do anything else. And not saying like, yo, the industry is bad. It's like, you know, it's a headache. It's a sacrifice. You really have to have the passion to do this. You know, this is not ever going to be a game that is your second choice. This is never going to be somebody's backup. Like, if you don't give your all into this, it's never going to work, you know? And that's why I say I would rather them do anything else. You know, my middle son shows a lot of promise of being a football player. He's 6 years old and plays 4 different positions and scores on all positions, even cornerback on defense. So something I'm like, okay, go do that. Because at least when you go to school, you're going to have a choice of a curriculum. You're going to go for it. That's going to be your backup, and your passion is going to be your sport. And that's more of a higher percentage of success. You know, because if you don't go to the NFL, you can go to a minor league or a flag league or something that you can still get paid for if you did want to keep going. But you always have your backup with your degree. And that's would be what I want. Even if my kids wanted to be, you know, honestly, really anything else. But when it came to the industry, I would say like A&R, you know, something I would want to set something up for them that's not so much like as an artist and more of like position in the industry, management, this, that, and the third. Like, if I wanted to play in this game, play in a different way. As an artist, it's one of the hardest jobs, one of the hardest things to actually continue striving for. If it's not, you know, silver platter to you, if you don't have just that, like, especially nowadays, that one viral spark. And even with the one viral sparks, it ain't gonna set you up for life nowadays. You know, you got the one viral video and one viral sound on TikTok, and it's the one. And it's 9 times out of 10, 30 seconds of the song anybody even knows. So it's just like, you know, you don't even have a 2-minute or 3-minute song that somebody's in love with. They only love the 30 seconds. And now what does that line you up for the rest of your career? So it's still a hard thing to do. And I'd rather them, you know, find another passion. My youngest son is like the only one I see as of right now that is really musically inclined. I call him at like 2.5 years old, eating at the table. I'm playing music while I'm doing the dishes, and he's just sitting there eating like, right, okay. So he loves music. He's into this, and so that's the only one. My oldest son is like very artsy. He loves drawing. He loves painting. So, you know, if that continues, that'll be, you know, his type of career choice. But really, I just want my boys at the end of the day to just do whatever they want to do. And I just want to be able to help them the best way I can without, again, spoiling them, you know, because I wasn't spoiled. The one thing my pops never did was spoil us. You know, we strive for everything we did. We had to have the certain amount of grades to go to do a show. Our first group as kids broke up because my oldest brother's grades were not good, you know. So, and we had a Universal deal on the table. They wanted to give us a whole budget to shoot this music video in California at the Six Flags and all of this stuff. And it was just like, yeah, his grades ain't good. Not doing it. So, you know, that's how I'm going to be 100%.
No doubt. All right. Before I let you go, I got two more questions. Question number one. Before your father transitioned, he had an opportunity to reconcile with Dr. Ice of the group UTFO. Um, what did that reconciliation mean to you, especially for the legacy of the group and the name UTFO?
That meant everything. My uncle being there, man, like before the transition, being there with us afterwards, he was feeling sick and was afraid that he might have had COVID right before the funeral. And it was just like, nah, I can't. Like my boys is there, and that's how he refers to us, like my boys, I gotta be there with my boys. Like, and that's just kind of how he is. And to know that they had that patch up was a beautiful thing, because like that's my dad's best friend, in the world. Like that's really my dad's best friend. And when you think about a best friend, you go through so many up and downs, but every single time there's something that is serious or needs to be even celebrated in a serious sense. That's always it. So that's the best friend sense that I have. Even my little bro Nino, that is my doc. Like me and Nino, and that's why it means so much to me, because it kind of just like solidified that me and Nino is going to be in each other's lives forever. We grew up. My little brother Nino is TCD from the Force and D son. So we literally grew up in this industry together. We grew up dancing just like my dad and Doc started, and now we both make music just like my dad and Doc. So it's just like that full circle to see their journey. And I always loved. I still play back my Doc's speech at the burial, and he kept saying, before there was a Kangol Kid and Doc Ice, there was a Sean and Freddie. And that's really the truth. And it's a blessing that it ended off in the same sense. Sean and Freddie was still right there next to each other, at the end of it. So it's a beautiful thing. And there's a lot coming from that too. There's a lot going to be coming from that, and us continuing this legacy of UTFO and Kango.
Do you foresee a UTFO film?
Yes.
Okay, because that's needed.
I'm just gonna say yes.
That's definitely needed. That's definitely needed. Last question. We live in a world that social media basically dictates trends, styles. It's how we get our news. How important is social media to you, especially when it comes to marketing and promoting your music?
It's importance to me is of the lowest in the world, but when it comes to marketing and everything in my music, is of course at this point literally the only source. It's so it makes it the most important. I would love for us to go back to having speaker boxes outside of A&R houses, because we got the address, and you got the whole group outside doing the entire performance, and you waking up like, you know what? I might sign y'all today, because y'all been coming every day and y'all actually are good, and I'd rather that. So that's where it doesn't mean anything to me when it's social media wise. I don't really actually utilize social media as everybody else does. It is literally a business. When I do catch myself on social media doing the social media stuff, like surfing through and get caught up on TikTok for like 30 hours or something, like yes. For me, it'd be like 5 minutes I'm caught on TikTok, and it was just like, oh, heck, put my phone down. I'm bugging, like, so that's just me. I know a lot of people that love it, I just can't get behind how much it, like you said, it dictates everything, takes over the world. Real news sometimes ain't even real news. You're going to get half of the news because somebody tweeted something, and when you get the tweet, I've seen so many situations, it'd be like somebody tweeted something, like that person tweeted it, and then when it gets put in a news article, it somehow get misconstrued to what the person said, and then you got to go to the person's tweet to see. It's just like, yo, how you misconstrue like somebody's actual words? But that's just social media. Everything is clickbait. Everything is blah blah blah. Everything is and it's a business. So at the end of the day, I understand. I respect the business. I think it sucks to the music industry, but I definitely respect it as a businessman of what the world is going into. Man, we got the metaverse. Like, we got concerts virtual reality concerts. Like, it gotta mean something to the, you know what I mean? I gotta do a virtual reality. Sooner or later I could go to Madison Square Garden. I can't even sell it out. You gotta go to the Madison Square Garden virtual joint to sell it out because nobody coming outside for concerts. So, you know, with stuff like Travis Scott incidences and you know, all of the things like that, it's leaning so much towards just like a very lack of human interaction in the world. And I mean, like, content wise, of course, we talk to each other, hear each other's voices, and, you know, but sense and, you know, just physical touch and stuff like that is slowly slipping away. And that's the extreme to when it comes to the social media, but it's slowly happening. It is.
Okay. All right. Speaking of social media, in closing, let everyone know how to keep up with you on all platforms and how to find these two marvelous projects.
So I am across all streaming platforms, iTunes, Spotify, Tidal, everything as Yusuke Vacant, Yusuke. Vacant is a self-explanatory spelling, but Vacant. All of my social media platforms are as such at Yusuke X Vacant. So it's the same spelling, Yusukex and then Vacant. You can definitely follow me on all of them on Spotify. Snapchat, Instagram, Facebook, everything, same title. So,
all right, I do have one more question before I let you go. Do you think you would ever remake Roxanne?
I don't know yet. So we played around with the idea dozens of times before my pops passed, and of course, definitely afterwards. And you know, there's a guy that made a Roxanne kind of remake the little Roxanne. All she want to do is party all night. Like, that was cool.
Yeah, I remember.
It was a cool record. And of course, it's not the actual remake of it, but I think that once me and my brothers put something together unanimously, as in like a presentation or like, again, like you said earlier, a UTFO movie. Things of that nature, it's going to call for such. I think we are working on right now enlightening the world to who we all lost before, you know, introducing something new to a lot of the people that's going to be the consumers, for lack of better words. And Roxanne, once we remake it, will be new to people, that a lot of people that have heard it. So, you know, we want them to know it's not us. So for that to be done correctly, it's more important right now to really show the world who Kangol is and who we've always lost as a legend, and, you know, and then sprinkle that what everybody wants from us. So it's tend to happen. It will tend to happen, but in due diligence.
How much do people tell you how much you look like your dad, man?
Nobody more than my mom.
All right. Sir, it's been an honor and a pleasure to have you on the show.
Same here.
Definitely keep doing your thing. Keep making that music, bro. I really love on the Donatello record. Those melodies are stupid, man. I love that.
Thank you.
All right, bro. I appreciate you.
You too, man. You have a great one.
All right, peace. That was Yusuke Vacant, the son of the late and legendary Kangol Kid. All right. It's your boy Vacant Hotel. This is the Ride Dirty Radio Show. We bridge the gap between hip hop and everyday life, man. We'll check you guys out next time. Peace.